17th chapter. This is this apart from the one that's being read. I think we are reading Madhya 6, 11.
Yeah, 11. It like it won't play. You can ask him.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhara Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhara Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol. Harinam Sankirtan Mahayagya ki Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Srila Prabhupada ki Nantakoti Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna. My throat's not in the best of conditions, so please kindly forgive me. Is my voice audible? Not quite.
Could be louder. Just my throat's not so good. Maybe the mic volume? It's possible. Hare Krishna. Just a quick sound check. Is everyone able to hear at the back? Yeah? Yes? Even for the Prabhujis? Okay. My throat's not in the best of conditions, so please forgive me. But I have to offer service to whatever extent my throat's at. So I'll try my best. Please forgive me. Before we get started, I would like to beg the blessings of all my superiors who are seated here, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, everyone who's present. Please offer your blessings and best wishes and prayers. May the right words come at the right time, in the right consciousness, to glorify the Lord, to purify our hearts, and pull our hearts closer and closer to the eternal service of Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda. This is our only desire. With that as the aspiration, I offer my obeisances to each one of you, begging for your blessings. Panchakal. So this morning I have been asked to speak from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Madhya Leela chapter 11, entitled The Veda Kirtan Pastimes. Text 139 to 146. All the translations and purports are by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. वासु कहे मुकुंदा दो पहिला तोमार संग तोमार चरण पहिला से पुनर्जन्म Vasudeva replied, Mukunda got your association in the beginning. This is Vasudeva that's speaking to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vasudeva replied, Mukunda got your association in the beginning. As such, he has taken shelter at your lotus feet. That is his transcendental rebirth. Chota haiya Mukunde be hoila amar jeshtha. Tomar kripa patra tate sarva gune sreshta. Thus Vasudeva Datta admitted his inferiority to Mukunda, his younger brother. Although Mukunda is my junior, he said, he first received your favor. Consequently, he became transcendently senior to me. Besides that, you very much favored Mukunda, thus he is superior in all good qualities. Puna Prabhu kahe ami tomara nimitte. Dui pustakani yachi dakshina haite. The Lord said, for your sake only I have brought 2 books from South India. Swarupera thaya che lohota likhiya. Vasudeva anandita pustaka paiya. The books are being kept with Swarup Damodar and you can get them copied. Hearing this, Vasudeva became very glad. Pratyeka Vaishnava shabe likhiya laila. Krame krame dui grantha sarvatra vyapila. Indeed, each and every Vaishnav copied the 2 books. By and by, the 2 books, Sri Brahma Samhita and Sri Krishna Karanamrita, were broadcast all over India. Shrivasa deko he Prabhu kari mahapreet. Tomar chari bhair ami hoino vikrit. The Lord addressed Srivas and his brothers with great love and affection, saying, I am so obliged that I am purchased by you 4 brothers. श्रीवास कहे न केने कह विपरीत कृपा मूल्य चारी भाई होए तुम्हार क्रीत Srivas then replied to the Lord, why are you speaking in a contradictory way? Rather, we four brothers have been purchased by your mercy. The final verse for today with Prabhupada's purport in it. Shankare dekhiya Prabhu kahe Damodare. Shankare dekhiya Prabhu kahe Damodare. Sagaurava priti amar tomara upare. शंकरे देखिया प्रभु कहे दामोदरे सगौरव प्रीति आमा तुम्हार These verses are so beautiful and sweet. Srila Prabhupada took shelter of Chaitanya Charitamrita on the Jaladuta. Even during the heart attacks, he said, the verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita were my only solace. So they are very beautiful. Just beautiful. Kaviraj Goswami has crafted a masterpiece with these verses. And of course, Prabhupada gifted this to the whole world. So translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. After seeing Shankara, as in, when I'm starting to read Prabhupada's purport, that's when the mercy comes. After seeing Shankara, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Damodar, my affection for you is on the platform of awe and reverence. Purport. Here the Lord is addressing Damodar Pandit, who is different from Swarup Damodar Goswami. Damodar Pandit is the older brother of Shankar. Thus the Lord informed Damodar that his affection towards him was on the platform of awe and reverence. However, the Lord's affection towards his younger brother, Shankar, was on the platform of pure love. Is it okay if I can hold the mic? Would that be okay? Is it possible if we can move the stand? Thank you. Hare Krishna. It's just that I have a bad habit of moving my head too much, so I can move it with the mic. So this morning we are studying Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you, Prabhu. This text, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada writes, is the most bona fide, authoritative, authentic presentation on the life and teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As we know, there are many other texts which glorify Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Another famous classic is the Chaitanya Bhagavat. That's written by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, who is counted in Gaur Ganodesh Deepika by Kavi Karnapur to be Sri Vyasadeva himself. So, Sri Vyasadeva, who compiled the Srimad Bhagavat, came in Kali Yuga and compiled the Chaitanya Bhagavat, glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's quite fascinating. Historically speaking, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat predates Chaitanya Charitamrita by about 60 years. That book was written 60 years before Chaitanya Charitamrita was written. Vrindavan Das Thakur compiled Chaitanya Bhagavat at the age of 29. At the tender age of 29, the whole Chaitanya Bhagavat was ready. completely surcharged with the fragrance of his realizations. And on the other hand, we see Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita was gifted to this world by Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami at the ripe age of 95. But still, there are simultaneous oneness and difference between these two texts. What's constant and what's similar is both of them talk about Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And what's different is that they talk about different aspects of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they are not a replacement of one over the other. They both complement each other very devotionally. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat also has 3 parts: the Adi Khanda, the Madhya Khanda, and the Shesha Khanda. Very much like the Adi Leela, Madhya Leela, and Anti Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita. But it just focuses on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pre-sannyas days. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance in Navadvip, all the very famous childhood pastimes that we have heard, they all come from Chaitanya Bhagavat. About how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Nimai Pandit was very naughty, how he would not let the innocent Brahmin girls in Navadvip offer their puja to Lord Shiva, and he would come and say, I want to be the recipient of this offering. Offer all these coconuts and these flower garlands to me. And they would say, no, this is for our future so that we have very good devotional husbands. We have been told to worship Lord Shiva. And Nimai Pandit is just a few years old. A few inches above the ground as far as his height is concerned. And he walks around telling those girls, Lord Shiva? Do you know why he holds the Ganga on the top of his head? That's only because Ganga has washed my lotus feet. And the girls would be, look at this boy. How arrogant. How dare you speak like that about Lord Shiva? He said, that's just the truth. They would say, no. We can't worship you. We can't believe you. This puja is for Lord Shiva. And they would decorate their plates and take it to the Ganga. And Nimai Pandit would chastise them and even threaten them that if you don't offer these articles in my worship, then I'll curse you as a Brahmana holding my Brahmin thread. That you will have husbands who are old, poor, crippled, diseased, hunchbacked, and with 4 other wives. And these girls would be, now what do we do? And that's how naughty Nimai was. Because old habits die hard. So he was very naughty as Krishna in his previous incarnation. He's also teaching us, of course, for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's no past life and future life and karma and things like that. But he's teaching us what you do in one life, those impressions carry on up to a few more lifetimes ahead. So he practiced being naughty as Krishna in Vrindavan, and those habits just spilt over in Navadvip. So all these sweet pastimes have been described in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would say that I want every devotee in the Gaudiya Math to study Chaitanya Bhagavat 108 times, over and over again. He said, so that you fall in love with the pastimes of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's descriptions, his beautiful, wonderful relationships with the devotees in Navadvip, his bathing in the Ganga, skipping school, missing school on the pretext of bathing in the Ganga and swimming in the Ganga, and then speaking lies to his father that I'm actually returning from school, I have no time to play. All these sweet pastimes have been described in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Actually, it's described with so much sweetness and metaphorical poetry. I'm just reminded of one example in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Nimai Pandit would splash water and play and swim around with his friends from sunrise to sunset. And when they used to be complained by these girls and other brahmanas, in fact, Nimai was so naughty, he would swim underwater in the Ganga and pull the dhoti of these sadhus who were bathing, and sometimes tickle them at their feet, and sometimes steal their kopin and their dhoti and put it on the branch of another tree and take the dhoti of another sadhu and put it on the other tree under which the previous sadhu was bathing, and just so that they can come out now because they don't have the clothes. So all these complaints went to Jagannath Mishra. The girls were complaining, the sadhus were complaining. Everybody had so much Gaur Katha to speak in Navadvip. All glories to Gauranga Mahaprabhu that he created sweet pastimes every day. That when the complaints went to Jagannath Mishra set out to find where his son was. And when Nimai Pandit got to know, he told his friends, please tell my father, you haven't seen me for weeks. I have been so busy studying in the school, I have no time to even look in the direction of the Ganga. What to speak of play with my friends. All of you friends, please help me. When my father comes, please tell him you haven't seen me. And that's exactly what happened. Jagannath Mishra would find his way to the bathing ghat of the Ganga and ask all these swimming classmates of Nimai Pandit, has my son visited the Ganga recently? And the friends would say, Nimai? Oh, it's been a long time. Yeah, have you seen? No, I haven't. Have you? And there's some naughty boy will be like, I have. Where have you seen? He hasn't come to the Ganga. Oh, I'm seeing him there. And from a distance, Nimai is carrying his school bag with the weight of all those books, with ink drops all over his face and his uniform. And he's walking with a tired, innocent face. He's coming towards the Ganga. And the friend said, there he is. That's where I see him. And Vrindavan Das Thakur, in that context, he writes, so beautiful. He said, Nimai sprinkled with those bluish black ink droplets looked like a golden lotus flower attacked by hungry, humming swarm of black bees. That's how beautiful he looked. All those ink drops looked like a swarm of bumblebees attacking a golden lotus flower called Nimai. How sweet. So Chaitanya Bhagavat talks about this sweet aspect of Mahaprabhu in Navadvip. But then, Vrindavan Das Thakur doesn't explain much about the post-sannyas leelas, the pastimes after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's taking sannyas. That service was left for Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Chaitanya Bhagavat talks about the pre-sannyas leelas, Chaitanya Charitamrita talks about the post-sannyas leelas. That's one difference. Another difference is, Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat is Leela Pradhan. Leela Pradhan means it's mainly stories, pastimes. And there's little bit of learning lessons embedded between those stories. But Chaitanya Charitamrita is Tattva Pradhan. Chaitanya Charitamrita has a perfect blend of philosophy. For all those of us who have studied the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it seems like an insurmountable mountain with all these philosophical descriptions. And sometimes devotees tell me, could we start from the Madhya Leela where the pastimes begin? So Chaitanya Charitamrita has philosophy. It has a very beautiful storyline of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. It has brilliant description of rasa, which means emotions and lessons between those relationships of those devotees. And it also has very nice, wonderful similarity in the author's mood, Kaviraj Goswami's mood, and the translator, Srila Prabhupada's mood. Srila Prabhupada, when he concludes the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he writes, this is a loving offering to the lotus palms of my Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, who was very attached to this text. Prabhupada writes, I have done this service in the same mood as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who was an old man who didn't know how many more days he's going to be alive. Prabhupada said, I am an old man and I don't know how many more years Krishna is going to keep me in this world. I have written this as service to my Guru and as the gift to the Vaishnava community. Chaitanya Charitamrita is very revolutionary in many aspects. Like, for example, the identity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Yes? Radha Krishna, right? And how do we know that? It's not in the Bhagavad Gita. It's not in the Bhagavatam. How do we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna? Actually, if you see, Chaitanya Bhagavat describes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Vishnu. Chaitanya Bhagavat describes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Vishnu. It calls Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Vaikuntanath, Vaikuntapati, Lakshmikant, and these are all names of Vishnu in Vaikuntha, the Lord of Vaikuntha, the husband of Lakshmi, etc. So Chaitanya Bhagavat says, Jaya Jaya Kripamaye Jagatero Nath, Sarva Jagater Koro Kripa Drishtipat. Please, oh Lord of the whole universe, open your eyes in the morning. That's one of the mantras for the deities when you wake them up. That comes from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Oh Mahaprabhu, oh Jagannath, oh Lord of Vaikuntha, please open the lotus petals of your eyes and bless the world with the nectar of your glance. So Chaitanya Bhagavat calls Mahaprabhu as Vishnu, the Lord of Vaikuntha. Now Chaitanya Mangal, which is another biography of Mahaprabhu written by Lochan Das Thakur, identifies Mahaprabhu as Krishna. So Chaitanya Bhagavat calls him Gaur Narayan. What does it call him? Gaur Narayan, which means Mahaprabhu who's Narayan, Vishnu. But Chaitanya Mangal calls him Gaur Krishna, which means Mahaprabhu who's none different from Krishna. But it is Chaitanya Charitamrita alone which calls Mahaprabhu not just as Gaur Narayan or Gaur Krishna, but as Radha Krishna. So this identity of Mahaprabhu, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladhinir Shaktir Asmad Ekatmana Vapi Bhuvi Pura Deha Bhedam Gatautau Chaitanyakyam Prakatam Adhuna Tatvayam Chaikyamaptam Radha Bhava Dhyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. This is Kaviraj Goswami's brilliant presentation that Mahaprabhu is actually a transcendental sandwich. Transcendental sandwich. He is Krishna, but in his heart, the devotion of Radha, and also beautifully, wonderfully covered externally by the complexion of Srimati Radharani. So inside he's Radha, outside he's Radha, but he's actually Krishna who's experiencing those emotions. And therefore Srila Jiva Goswami in the Mangalacharan to Tattva Sandarbha, he says, Anta Krishna Bahir Gaura Darshitangadi Vaibhavam. He says, I bow down to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Radha Krishna inside. He's Krishna dark inside, which means he's Krishna inside, but golden outside because of Radharani's covering. Where does all those ideas and all those beautiful revelations come into this world from? It comes only and only from one text, that is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Of course, basing on the works of Rupa Goswami. The works of Rupa Goswami. Another brilliant idea. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivas, Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. What are these 5 great personalities put together called? Panchatattva. And how do we know that? Where does that idea come from? That idea of Panchatattva, actually this term Panchatattva is never found in Shastra. It's not there in Chaitanya Bhagavat. It's not there in Chaitanya Mangal. It's there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami who identified Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, Gadadhar Prabhu and Srivas Prabhu to be the powerhouse of spiritual compassion and put them together with this term Panchatattva. And since then, in our Sampradaya, when we say Panchatattva, it refers to these great personalities. Actually, before that, if you say Panchatattva, people would think about earth, water, fire, air, ether. Those are the 5 tattvas that the material body is made of. But it was Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami who said, Panchatattva eka vastu kichu nahi bhed, lila rasa aswadite vivida vibhed. That The transcendental mathematics has been explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. What's the transcendental mathematics? God is one, but in Dwapar Yuga, he split into, and in Kali Yuga, that one who became two became one, and that one, as Mahaprabhu, split into five. Transcendental mathematics. One becomes two, two becomes one, and one becomes five. This idea of Panchatattva was proposed and presented very authoritatively by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's how revolutionary this text is. Another beautiful, wonderful contribution of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Put together, what are they called? Shat Goswamis, right? Not sad Goswamis, right? When you write in English, SAD, right? No, they are Goswamis who have come in this world to make us who are sad into happy. So they're not sad Goswamis, they're Shat Goswamis. So what are they put together called? Shat Goswamis. And how do we know that? Chaitanya Charitamrita. We've asked these questions quite frequently. Whether it's Panchatattva, whether it's the identity of Mahaprabhu, whether it's the combination of the 6 Goswamis put together as one terminology of Shat Goswami, all of this has been given. Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. This was coined by Kaviraj Goswami. How brilliant. How amazing. Now the question could be, are there only 6 Goswamis? No, there are many Goswamis, right? In Vrindavan, in Navadvip, there are so many Goswamis. Prabhupada explains Goswami is a person who has controlled his senses and offered it in service to Krishna. But in the Gaudiya line, there are 6 prominent Goswamis called as the Shat Goswamis. And on the basis of Kaviraj Goswami's presentation, Srinivas Acharya later composed Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghu Yugo Shri Jiva Gopalako, which Prabhupada loved to sing. Have you all heard that very beautiful presentation of Prabhupada singing? No other instruments. It's just Prabhupada singing with a kartal. So beautiful. In my childhood, I remember my mother used to tell me, whenever I would come from school, I had a morning shift, so I would go at around 6:30 in the morning and come back at around 1:30, 2 o'clock. And just before having my lunch, my mother used to tell me, pick up the mridanga and sing the Shat Goswami Ashtakam. That was my offering in the afternoon if I really am hungry for lunch. Right? And many times I remember I used to sing it so fast. And that would be an indication that I'm very hungry. Right? That was based on Srila Prabhupada's singing. So this idea of the 6 Goswamis comes from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita is amazing. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, actually just before Chaitanya Charitamrita, he wrote another text, very exalted, esoteric text, describing Radha and Krishna. And he wrote that text in Sanskrit, and that text had about 2,500 verses in Sanskrit, in different metrical compositions, different meters, different melodies can be used to sing that. And it was so beautiful a presentation that Srila Jiva Goswami, who was like the leader, Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Gaur Premanande. Srila Jiva Goswami, who was the leader of the Vaishnava community at that point, he read that text of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and he said, Krishnadas, what you have written is magic. It's a miracle. You have described Radha and Krishna so beautifully. You have described the names, the forms, the pastimes, the attributes, the glory of the services to Radha and Krishna. You have glorified Vrindavan. You have glorified the eightfold pastimes of the day of Radha and Krishna so wonderfully. It was Jiva Goswami who told Krishnadas that from today, I want to give you the knighthood or the title Kaviraj, the best among poets. And that's how he got his name as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And then it was Srila Jiva Goswami who inspired Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami that if you can write so beautifully, so devotionally, so scholarly, so poetically, you can write about Radha and Krishna who are in two forms. I think it's you alone who can write about Radha and Krishna in one form. Therefore, O Krishnadas Kaviraj, it's my desire if you can write Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami considered himself to be so unqualified, in fact disqualified, out of his extreme humility. Kaviraj Goswami, throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita, you'll find, out of his humility, he gets into a sense of self-deprecation. He says, there's nobody as fallen as I am. Jai mora naam shune tar punyak choy. Jai mora naam loy tar papa hoy. He said, anybody who chants my name will lose all piety. And anyone who remembers me, remembers my name, oh, he will become sinful. Is that true? By chanting the names of Krishna, do we lose piety and do we become sinful? No. But it's just his nature of humility, of self-deprecation. He doesn't see any good qualities in himself. So even when Srila Jiva Goswami told him that I want you to write Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami said, how can I do it? It's like a dwarf trying to touch the moon. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in another text, he writes, if you tell me to hold the sun and the moon in my palms, I can do it. But I can't glorify the qualities of Krishna enough. If you tell me, he writes, if you tell me to count the number of atoms on the surface of the earth, or you tell me to count the number of raindrops or snowflakes, I can do it. But I can't count the number of innumerable qualities, qualitatively and quantitatively. The qualities of Radha and Krishna, it's just beyond my ability. He mentions, it's like a dwarf trying to touch the moon. But however, if the moon is merciful to the dwarf, he may shower a few merciful moonbeams. The dwarf can then bask in the glory of those moonbeams. He mentions, I can't do it by myself. I need to walk around Vrindavan and beg for the blessings of the Vaishnavas. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was blessed. He heard the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita from Raghunath Das Goswami. Now that's another history. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, out of the 6 Goswamis, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami spent maximum time with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived in Jagannath Puri for about 18 long years. And Srila Raghunath Das Goswami lived with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in close proximity 16 out of those 18 years. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami may have gotten maybe 10, maximum 12 months, all inclusive. A few months in the Shashwamedha Ghat, in the conversation of Rupa and Sanatan with Mahaprabhu. And then a few months in Jagannath Puri, and then the meeting in Ramakeli, all put together maybe 10 months, Rupa Goswami. But Raghunath Das Goswami gets 16 long years with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And how beautiful was his interaction. He was directly under Swarup Damodar Goswami. And Swarup Damodar Goswami was the most intimate friend of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's described, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Swarupasya pranar buddha kamala nirajita mukha shachi sunu kimme nayana sharanim yasyati punah. It's described that Swarup Damodar Goswami would serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like Subal would serve Krishna. Subal is Krishna's best friend. And when Krishna is shot by the arrows or the pangs of separation from Srimati Radharani, at that time Krishna would go to his best friend Subal. And Subal would embrace Krishna and pacify him. And sometimes it's described, Subal would write on a little palm leaf of Vrindavan the name of Radha and fold it into half and give it to Krishna and say, you want Radharani? Here she is. making the point that the name and the form are non-different. And then Krishna would open up that palm leaf and read Radha. And Subal would say, just chant the holy name and she will appear. And on the other hand, when Radharani would feel pangs of separation from Krishna, Lalita Sakhi would pacify Sri Radha by speaking about Krishna. So Kaviraj Goswami Pad explains, just like Subal pacified Krishna in separation from Sri Radha, and just like Lalita Sakhi pacified Radharani in separation from Krishna, both these roles were played by Swarup Damodar Goswami while he pacified Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was crying in separation from Radha and Krishna. There are some pastimes where Mahaprabhu is in the mood of Radharani and calls out to Krishna. And there are some pastimes where Mahaprabhu is in the mood of a devotee, calls out to Radha and Krishna. So Subal and Lalita Sakhi put together, they would offer their services to Mahaprabhu through Swarup Damodar. Now Swarup Damodar Goswami had a personal diary. The other day, His Holiness Keshav Maharaj was telling me, he took me to a very beautiful tour of Prabhupada's room. And during that meet, he told me something very sweet, which I'm invoking here by his blessings. He mentioned about the art of journaling, maintaining a personal diary. And he told me, Swarup Damodar Goswami had a personal diary. Bhaktivedanta Thakur had a personal diary. Srila Prabhupada had a personal diary, the Jaladuta diary. So he was talking and inspiring me to maintain a diary with all my travels and write a few things that I learned from different Vaishnavas and how I could improve myself. So there he invoked Swarup Damodar Goswami having a diary. And surely enough, such a power-potent diary, Swarup Damodar Goswami maintained notes of daily activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what would he do? He would teach Srila Raghunath Das Goswami all the happenings of the day. So Raghunath Das Goswami for 16 long years was the student of Swarup Damodar Goswami, who was the personal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now can we imagine what wonder that would be? Swarup Damodar comes to Raghunath Das Goswami and says, there's more nectar for today. Today Mahaprabhu woke up, he went, he had darshan of Jagannath, and then he did something amazing. And then Swarup Damodar looks into his notes and gets into the conversation with Raghunath Das Goswami. Now Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, he loved Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Swarup Damodar Goswami so much that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this world, his life air hanged on the edge of the branch of Swarup Damodar Goswami's presence. And when Swarup Damodar Goswami also left this world, Raghunath Das Goswami felt like giving up his body. He walked all the way from Jagannath Puri to Govardhan with a desire that I will climb the mountain of Govardhan and jump from there and commit suicide. That was Raghunath Das Goswami's idea, because he couldn't live without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not that he is advocating suicide, by the way. That's not what the purport of this pastime is. He was burning in the fire of separation that he didn't feel like being alive. And as he came to Govardhan, his path was intercepted by Sanatan Goswami. Now Sanatan Goswami held the hand of Raghunath Das Goswami and told him, you want to commit suicide? I'll tell you something interesting. There was a time in my life I wanted to commit suicide. And Sanatan Goswami tells Raghunath Das Goswami the famous story how he wanted to give up his body under the cartwheels of the Rath Yatra. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very lovingly and possessively told Sanatan Goswami, how dare you decide to destroy my property? Your body is not your body. Arpilo tuva pade Nanda Kishore. Manasa deho geho jo kichu more. Arpilo tuva pade Nanda Kishore. Oh Sanatan, you have offered your mind, your body, your senses to me. How dare you think of destroying my property without my permission? Then Sanatan Goswami said, then please give me your permission. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no. you don't have my permission. I want to use your body as an instrument to give many books to this world, to manifest Radha Madan Mohan in this world, to teach Vaishnava etiquette in this world, to excavate lost places in this world. Sanatan, I want you to be alive. Suicide is not an option. If you're burning in fire of separation from the Lord, live in this world and serve the devotees of the Lord out of gratitude as an expression of that love. Sanatan now intercepts the path of Raghunath Das Goswami and tells him, you want to commit suicide? This is what Mahaprabhu told me, and I'm telling you the same. Raghunath, I want you to be alive. I want you to live on the banks of Radha Kund. Raghunath Das Goswami said, I am not qualified to live on the banks of Radha Kund. Sanatan Goswami told him, what are the gifts that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave you? He gave you a Govardhan Shila and he gave you a Gunja berry garland. Govardhan Shila represents Giriraj and the Gunja berry represents Radharani. What is that place in and around Govardhan which belongs to Radharani exclusively? Actually, everything belongs to Radharani exclusively. But what's that pond which is the exclusive bathing place of Srimati Radha? So Sanatan Goswami told Raghunath Das Goswami, Mahaprabhu has given you a Govardhan Shila decorated with a beautiful Gunja berry garland, which means you should tie your life around Govardhan, especially on the banks of Radha Kund. And you should live there speaking the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you have heard from Swarup Damodar Goswami that he personally witnessed. Raghunath Das Goswami sat on the banks of Radha Kund. Actually, he lived there for close to 50 years, chanting the holy name. 50 years, crying and weeping. Chappan dando ratri dine, jane na Radha Govinda bine, chari dandi shuti thake, swapne Radha Govinda dekhe. It is described for 22 and a half hours. He would be awake chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. For 22 and a half hours, he would chant the holy name. And not just the holy name, he would also speak Gaur Leela Katha. And for 1.5 hours, he took rest with closed eyes. And Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, in the only song he wrote, Kothai Go Premamayi Radhe Radhe, he writes, for 22 and a half hours, through Katha and Kirtan, through classes, Krishna Katha and Krishna Kirtan and Japa, he saw Radha and Krishna with open eyes. And for 1.5 hours, as he took rest, he saw Radha and Krishna with closed eyes. He would have dreams of Radha and Krishna. So Raghunath Das Goswami, for 2 to 3 hours every evening, he would speak about Mahaprabhu. And many devotees assembled and heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They had never heard about Mahaprabhu's pastimes in Jagannath Puri. There was no access. There's no live broadcast. There's no YouTube. There's no social media. And even if there are devotees going back and forth from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan, seldom do they know the pastimes of Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. But this is first-hand experience. Raghunath Das Goswami listens to these pastimes from Swarup Damodar Goswami, who was the personal secretary of Mahaprabhu. Swarup Damodar wrote it in his notebook, spoke it to Raghunath Das Goswami, who wrote it in his notebook, and through his notebook, as the notes for his classes, he spoke for many months the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. In that assembly were hundreds and hundreds of assembled devotees. And one such devotee who was sitting there was Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. It was Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami who wrote his notes from the classes of Raghunath Das Goswami's notes, who heard it from Swarup Damodar Goswami's notes, who saw these pastimes. And whatever Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote in his notebook was published as 11,555 verses long, 62 chapters long, Chaitanya Charitamrita ki. This is the magnum opus of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he was empowered by Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, the very famous speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, he spoke Srimad Bhagavatam and Gaur Katha to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. What's astonishing is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was empowered from all directions. He had the blessings of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, who was his Bhagavatam Guru. He had blessings from Raghunath Das Goswami, who was his Chaitanya Charitamrita Guru. He had blessings from Srila Jiva Goswami, who gave him the knighthood of Kaviraj, the title of Kaviraj. And then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami goes from one Vaishnava to another, begging for their blessings. And finally, at the age of 95, writes this work. Is this not wonderful? Isn't this amazing? The history of how this text came to being. And look at how much Srila Prabhupada prioritized the Chaitanya Charitamrita. One of Srila Prabhupada's best contributions, actually everything that Prabhupada touched turned to gold. One Prabhupada disciple was telling me, wherever His Divine Grace placed His lotus feet, there was a garden of devotion that blossomed there. It was very poetic. He said, wherever His Divine Grace, talking about lotus, I think there's a bumblebee tasting the lotus of Prabhupada's lotus feet. So quite poetic. He said, wherever His Divine Grace placed His lotus feet, there was a burst of a garden of devotion there. So Prabhupada gave deities to the whole world. Prabhupada gave prasadam, he gave his books, he gave the holy name, he gave Vaishnavas, he gave us temples, he gave us Vaishnav culture. He taught us everything. When Srila Prabhupada came to America, he was the only Gaudiya Vaishnav in the whole North American continent. The only Gaudiya Vaishnav. Now when we travel from one place to another, we call up the local ISKCON temple. We say, Prabhu, I'll be coming around 11 o'clock. Can I get some prasadam? Right? And we know there are Vaishnavas here, there are devotees to host, there are devotees to give us prasadam, there are devotees to arrange programs. This preaching is not austere at all. There's no austerity in this preaching. You just have to go from one plane to another, one aircraft to another. That's it. That's the only austerity. But there's no other austerity. But what Srila Prabhupada did was austere. He went to a place where there was no devotee, no Indian to help. He didn't know anybody, absolutely no one, no money, no GPS, no internet, no gadgets, no smartphones, nothing. Prabhupada did not even have proper winter clothing when he came to Boston. And I've lived in Boston, in the cold of Boston. It's very cold. You live in London, you know what cold is. When Srila Prabhupada came, he depended on Krishna completely. And what's astonishing is Srila Prabhupada took a break from the translation of Srimad Bhagavatam and invoked the translation of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now he goes from Canto 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 and 8, and he's sequentially translating Srimad Bhagavatam. And at one point, Srila Prabhupada takes a break from Srimad Bhagavatam, understanding the significance of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Let's think about it. Bhagavad Gita, even those who are not Vaishnavas, even those from other schools of spiritual learning and realization, they also consider Bhagavad Gita as their text. You can find even those who follow the Advaitavad, those who are not directly into the devotional line of Vaishnavism, even they love Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is like the book for the whole world. But Srimad Bhagavatam gets little more streamlined and laser beamed. Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. Right? Srimad Bhagavatam is appealing more to the Vaishnavas, not so much to others. So if Bhagavad Gita is the text for the whole world, Srimad Bhagavatam is the text which is appreciated by the Vaishnav community. But then it's still common for all sampradayas, right? Then what is that text which is exclusively a Gaudiya text? That is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada thought, there are so many commentators on the Srimad Bhagavatam anyway. There are commentaries available, and they have commented on Srimad Bhagavatam. But there's nobody who has translated Chaitanya Charitamrita from Bengali to English for the benefit of the whole world. So Prabhupada stopped the translation of Srimad Bhagavatam and took on the project of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then you hear stories of how fast Chaitanya Charitamrita was translated. It's just brilliant. When Prabhupada gave the deadline and the devotees said, "Oh, that's just impossible, Prabhupada." And Srila Prabhupada famously said, impossible is a word in the Fool's Dictionary. So they not just meet the deadline, they beat the deadline. And please Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada did not move for those months. He stayed in that one place. He wanted to make sure Chaitanya Charitamrita is translated and commented quickly. This book is so rare that Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur had to search for Chaitanya Charitamrita for 8 long years in Bengal. This is a Bengali text. Searching for a Bengali text in Bengal, in India, by Bhaktivedanta Thakur, it took him 8 long years to find the original manuscript. That's how rare it was. And now, in the present generation, we have a Chaitanya Charitamrita set in every home. At least we aspire that Chaitanya Charitamrita should flood the world. Prabhupada would be pleased. All of our acharyas would be pleased. But what's sad is most of us may have the text, but because we may not resonate, we may not understand, we may not contemplate on the historical and the devotional significance of this text unfortunately only gets the space in a cupboard, but not space in our hearts. We are not able to find that time to daily study this text of Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is certainly Amrita. Chaitanya Charita. Charita means pastimes and Amrita means nectar. How much nectar should we drink to get intoxicated? As much as we can. Therefore Chaitanya Charitamrita describes, please everyone repeat, Chaitanya Charitamrita Nitya Karopan Jaha Haite Premananda Bhakti Tattva Gyan. Kaviraj Goswami himself is writing Chaitanya Charitamrita Nitya Karopan. Please, dear devotees, study this text every day. What would we get by studying this text every day? Jaha hoite premananda bhakti tattva gyan. We would become knowledgeable, we would become devotional, and the heart will become the sitting place for love of Godhead. Just by studying the text, just by drinking this nectar of Chaitanya Leela, reading it again and again, studying it again and again. This text is so beautiful, dear devotees. Shruyatam shruyatam nityam ghiyatam ghiyatam muda chintyatam chintyatam bhaktas chaitanya charitamritam. Kaviraj Goswami Pad has said, hear it over and over again, sing this text again and again, and contemplate on the lessons in the association of devotees. And that's the path to drink the nectar. He has outlined this path in the book. This book is honey-laden with Vaishnava qualities and Vaishnava Sadachar. I'll just give you a little glimpse of course, this book is like a beautiful diamond. You can, as you move the diamond, you can see different colors being reflected out of it. So there are pastimes that come out. There are beautiful Vaishnava relationships that come out. There's philosophical backing that comes out. And what's really amazing about this text is Kaviraj Goswami Pad has quoted so many wonderful references in this book. Like he would say something and quote Bhagavad Gita. He would say something and quote Srimad Bhagavatam. He would say something and quote Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He will quote something and quote Ujjvala Nilamani. He will say something and quote Gopal Champu of Jiva Goswami. He will say another thing and quote a prayer from Stavamala or Stavavali of Rupa and Raghunath Das Goswami. What I'm trying to say is this book is the condensed essence of the nectar collected in many, 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 many Gaudiya Vaishnava literatures. All of our acharyas are like bumblebees, and they have collected the honey of their texts from the flower of the Vedic texts. Rupa Goswami is a bumblebee. Raghunath Das Goswami is a bumblebee. Not literally a bumblebee, but poetically, metaphorically a bumblebee. And they're all like bumblebees. They're all like honeybees, collecting the nectar in their books from the flower of what Vyasadeva has given. But then they have collected all of that in a honeycomb. And that honeycomb, which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has collected from the nectar of all these nectarian bumblebees, is the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This honeycomb is so nectarian that you can tap into the honey of this honeycomb without being scared of the stings of the bumblebees. You can get the nectar without the stings. It's brilliant. Jiva Goswami's books, Rupa Goswami's books, Raghunath Das Goswami's books. It's brilliant. All of that collected here. Also, another brilliant facet of Chaitanya Charitamrita is it draws in so many conversations. So many conversations. Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami, Mahaprabhu and Sanatana Goswami, Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Mahaprabhu and Prakashananda Saraswati, Mahaprabhu and Raghunath Das Goswami, Mahaprabhu and Keshav Kashmiri, the debate also. So many beautiful conversations. And who doesn't like to read conversations and learn things through stories where there are conversations between personalities? That's the best way to learn. Many times it's described when there's a medicine which is very bitter, the child would not be interested in taking it. But the mother mixes it in a very tasty juice and gives the juice to the child. The child is drinking for the taste of the juice. And as he's drinking the juice, the bitter medicine gets into the stomach or into the body. Similarly, if you see the Upanishads, they are cut and dry. They give us instructions like a master to a servant. And many times, we're not ready to take that. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has made a very beautiful, delicious drink, which is very tasty to the ear, very tasty to the heart. And it also has the essential medicinal herbs, which we're not ready to take. As renunciation from this world and devotion to Krishna, all mixed together. And as we drink this beverage, everything gets into the body suitably. One last thing as we want to mention before we wrap up. We wanted to give an example how this book is honey-laden with Vaishnav Sadachar. Now think about it. Everybody is already studying Chaitanya Bhagavat for 60 long years. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami attempts to write a book on the same subject matter. What is seen generally in this world when you have two people in the same department with similar service, two pujaris, both considering themselves to be head pujaris, two leading preachers who both consider themselves to be the best counselors, two mridanga players jamming their bicep muscle, and sometimes the singer's singing is completely eclipsed by the sound of the mridanga. To such an extent, it seems like the singer is interfering between a mridanga jamming session. So you can see in this world, when you have two mridanga players, two singers, two preachers, or in any field for that matter, we're not just talking about ISKCON, but anything, in the nature of this world, two authors who are writing similar books of the similar genre. What is generally seen? Competition. That's the word. They have mutual competition. And they would just, for namesake, say, yeah, we are not friends, but we respect each other. We wish the best for each other, right? But we haven't had a dinner in a long time, right? We're not friends, but yeah, we are friendly. We meet, we say Hare Krishna, or we are hi-bye, right? So there's a sense of competition. Think about it. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami starts to write Chaitanya Charitamrita in a generation where people have already lovingly accepted Chaitanya Bhagavat of Vrindavan Das Thakur for 60 years. It may seem that he is apparently competing. It may seem like that. Guess what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami does? In his book, he glorifies Vrindavan Das Thakur's book. Now that's unseen in this world. You will never see an expert author in his book glorify the book and the author who happens to be his competitor. Not that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Vrindavan Das Thakur are competing, but from a materialistic perspective, this is a very good lesson for us. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami goes on to say, Ore mudhe loko shuno Chaitanya mangal, Chaitanyar mahima jane jani be shakal. He says, O readers of my book, the only purpose of my book is to point the direction towards Vrindavan Das Thakur's book. And then he writes, please everyone repeat, this is very beautiful. He writes, Krishna Lila Bhagavate, Kahe Veda Vyas, Chaitanya Lilara Vyas, Vrindavana Das. He mentions just like Vyasadev gave Srimad Bhagavat, glorifying Krishna, that Vyasadev has appeared as Vrindavan Das to give Chaitanya Lila. And then he says, okay, then he gives a reason as to why he's writing the book. He writes, Chaitanya Lilara Vyas, Dasa Vrindavan, Tar Agya Karo, Tar Uchishta Charvan. He writes that there is tradition in this world that when pure devotees honor prasadam, the others in the next generation, they love to take the remnants. So, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad writes, Vrindavan Das Thakur is the pure devotee, and Chaitanya Bhagavat is his preparation. I am simply collecting remnants from his plate and putting it together in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I am not cooking another preparation. I am simply offering remnants from his plate to the whole world. And then he says, Sahaje Vichitra Madhur, Chaitanya Vihar, Vrindavana Dasa Mukhe, Amritera Dhar. Then Kaviraj Goswami Pad writes, Mahaprabhu's pastimes are sweet, opulent, very magnanimous, and full of instructions. I am not able to do justice writing these pastimes. This nectar flows the best when it emanates from the mouth of Vrindavan Das Thakur. So throughout, while writing his text, he is offering obeisances to Vrindavan Das Thakur and begging for his blessings and telling the readers, please understand, I am simply accepting remnants from his plate. So he's writing his book, but very, very sensitive and mindful of Vaishnava etiquette. Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of a Vaishnava. What is the best ornament that we can all adore? Yes, we can have earrings and all of these ornaments according to the gender that we are in, and even without the gender nowadays. Anybody can wear any ornament. I have no problem with it. But the best ornament all Vaishnavas, all of us can adore and adorn is good behavior, is Vaishnava etiquette. What's the use if we can speak Harikatha, if we can manage temples, if we can be popular on social media, if we can be skilled and talented, but if we don't know the art of dealing with one another with respect, with affection, and with sensitivity. if we can respect each other, if we can be affectionate to each other, if we can selflessly serve each other and care and have concern for each other and have sensitivity in communication and dealings, how do we even aspire to go to that world where every step is dance and every word is song, where language is spoken just through the glancing of the eyes? That's how sensitive that world is. And that's what Chaitanya Charitamrita is teaching us. Pastimes, philosophy, lessons, and Vaishnava etiquette. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for this gift to mankind. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So I've been told the class must go on till 9 o'clock, and seems like I have stopped 8 minutes before time. So if there are any corrections, any additions, any subtractions, any inputs, any questions, any reflections, please. Yes, Prabhu. Do we have a microphone? Yes. To all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, please feel free to add your inputs, share your corrections. As His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu says, we live to be corrected, not live to be correct. So yes, Yadubar Prabhu.
Thank you so much for that incredible class. I'm in awe of your learning, your devotion, your presentation. And I think Prabhupada is very proud of you.
That's the best thing I have heard since I've come to UK. Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai. Prabhu wanted to say something. You can pass him the microphone.
I may have quoted this before. It's from Prabhupada's Transcendental Calendar, and it's in Vrindavan, May 17th, 1977. It's near the end of his days, actually. And it says, if death takes place, let it be here. There's nothing said to be new. Whatever I have said to speak, I have spoken in my books. Now you try to understand and continue your endeavor, whether I am present or not present. It doesn't matter. As Krishna is living eternally, similarly, living being also lives eternally. But one who has done service to Krishna, the Lord, he lives forever. So you have been taught to serve Krishna, and with Krishna's with Krishna we'll live eternally. Our life is eternal. A temporary disappearance of this body doesn't matter. Body is meant for disappearance, so I live forever serving Krishna. So he's saying here that basically his books have said everything. Whether it be Chaitanya and Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, all these quotations, they're the subject of what Prabhupada has brought us all in his last days, his total sacrifice to bring us everything that he had. Okay, sorry, that's it. I went on a bit.
Oh, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for that addition. Yes.
Thank you for a beautiful class. You talked about Gaur Narayan and Gaur Krishna. why one is choosing to glorify Mahaprabhu as Gaur Krishna and then the others Gaur Narayan? What's the purpose behind that?
Could everyone hear the question? Do you want me to repeat the question? Okay. Prabhu's question is, we mentioned briefly that Mahaprabhu's different aspects have been touched by different biographers as Gaur Narayan, as Mahaprabhu being Vishnu, or Gaur Krishna, Mahaprabhu being Krishna, or Radha Krishna, he being Radha Krishna. So the question is, why is one Acharya picking as Gaur Narayan and the other Acharya prefers to call Mahaprabhu as Gaur Krishna, right? What do we have to learn? Yes, so the aspect is, one book talks about the opulence of the Lord. Like Chaitanya Bhagavat, for example, talks about Mahaprabhu's opulence. Like you will find pastimes like the Mahaprakash Leela, the 21 hours of great revelation where Mahaprabhu reveals to the whole world that he is Vishnu. So that's the aspect of description, that he is Vishnu, he is very opulent. But in Chaitanya Mangal, more than the opulence, it's the sweetness that brings in the aspect of Krishna in Vrindavan. And then in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's Radharani's magnanimity. So it's Aishwarya, Madhurya and Audarya. These aspects of opulence, sweetness and magnanimity. Any other reflections? Anything from the Vaishnavis? Any inputs from the children? Any reflections, corrections? You have something to add? Yes, Prabhu. Can we have a microphone which can...
Thank you, Prabhu, for nectar. In regard of Chaitanya Charitamrita, when I started to read, I admit that I read a few times anyway, but first 12 chapters of Adi Lila is extremely, extremely difficult to understand. And then is excellent recipe to put away somebody for reading. We distributing sets of Chaitanya Charitamritas. It's this campaign in this. So there are new people who even have never heard of Lord Chaitanya. So because they pay so much, this scary amount of books, they may sit sometime and start to read. Yeah. But if they pick up Adi Lila, they'll think, is that Chaitanya Charitamrita? Ah, okay. This can put them off for lifetimes. Right. So, I mean, I generally, few times happen, I advise people start with 13th chapter, and this nectar starts. And later on, when you really get taste for it, you can go for it. Because first 12 chapters are really for those who want to establish the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Lord Chaitanya, and all Panchatattva is of the same rank. And it's very tedious, and now when I start to read Chaitanya Charitamrita, I always start with 13 chapters. I don't even go there, because I just can't do it anymore. So I don't know what's a program for distribution, for cultivating people to actually pick up this, again, mountain of scary amount of books which they pay for and read. If they start, as I say again, from beginning, they will just put away. So I don't know what's a program. Can you tell them, please jump? Same as Bhagavad Gita, we advise people, start from 2nd chapter. Because so it's the same things. Should be with Chaitanya Charitamrita, or write some introductory books, which is ideally our Lokar Maharaj, Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj has these small books based on. So when you develop some taste for it, which is nectar, definitely, then you can go back and start to philosophize about it. Anyway, some comment.
One of the most honest confessions in a long time. So that also brings to importance not just book distribution, but follow-up after that. We want to make sure that Chaitanya Charitamrita goes out, because otherwise how will Mahaprabhu's nectar, pastimes, Kaviraj Goswami and Prabhupada's sacrifice touch the world? So we must give Chaitanya Charitamrita also with a card to the temple or a local book reading club where we can have devotees who can follow up with those devotees and sit with them. First of all, charity begins at home. It is our literature and it's our duty to first of all study those chapters nicely. And there are many study guides nowadays. Gauranga Darshan Prabhu's Subodhini, Chaitanya Subodhini has been personally very helpful to me in studying those sections. So by studying it systematically, taking notes, understanding to the best that we can, clarifying with senior Vaishnavas ourselves first, like we clarify with superior senior Vaishnavas, and then we initiate book reading clubs where when we give out these books, distribute these books, we follow up with them and inspire them, invite them into the fold of book reading clubs. So it's our duty to study. Of course, it's beautiful to start from the 13th chapter, but the fact that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in his ripe old age spent time in Vrindavan writing those chapters out of gratitude and love and appreciation and respect to his lotus feet, we could read those chapters also. And understanding that Srila Prabhupada could have started commenting from the 13th chapter, but Srila Prabhupada started it from the first chapter of Adi Leela. So I think what we could do is, as we mentioned, these sections, whether you mentioned of the first chapter of Gita, the first 12 chapters of the Adi Leela, and then in the Bhagavatam also there are sections like that. Think about the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the planetary model, right? Think about the 2nd and the 3rd canto which talks about atomic time, right? And think about the 9th chapter, 9th canto where there are chapters just with names of kings. Or the 11th canto, which after the sweetness of the 10th canto, the 11th canto talks about controlling breath and focusing on the tip of the nose and sitting in a lotus position and perfecting contemplative samadhi as a yogi, right? So when I asked one devotee, how do I understand, like the first 12 cantos, first 12 chapters are the same question. I asked one devotee who's been studying Chaitanya Charitamrita for a long time. I asked him, first 12 chapters are so difficult, sometimes they can discourage. And he told me, Chaitanya Charitamrita is not everybody's cup of tea, herbal tea, right? So he mentioned the first 12 chapters have been presented to see our sincerity. Are you ready to pay the price to get the nectar of the pastimes of Mahaprabhu? That was his answer. He said, where the going gets tough, the tough gets going, right? So in this way, we can take it as our duty to study Prabhupada's books and not skip sections. That's just my insignificant, humble opinion. But if you think starting from the 13th chapter works, it may certainly work. Yes, any final conclusive points? Yes, we could take one last in the interest of time.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for the wonderful presentation. Regarding the Gaur Narayan point, for instance, in Keturigram, Narottam Das Thakur, he installed multiples of deities. And we can see even in our Gaudiya tradition, many Gaudiya Vaishnavas been worshipping Gaur Narayan and Lakshmi Priya. That was one of the installations in Keturigram. Then Gaur Gadadhar is, for instance, was worshipped by Bhaktivedanta Thakur, but Srila Prabhupada for us presented Gaur Nitai. And my question is, what is your opinion in terms of studying other biographies of Lord Chaitanya? We have Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak, Chaitanya Charita, Chaitanya Mahakavya. How we can, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, can create this wholesome picture of Lord Chaitanya's biography, his life, or should we focus on Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita respectfully? Hare Krishna.
No, that's a very valid point. There are many biographies of Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Charit Mahakavya was the original one by Murari Gupta. And since then, we have Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur, Chaitanya Mangal by Lochan Das Thakur, Chaitanya Charitamrit by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. There is Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak by Kavi Karanapur. And there's also Chaitanya Chandramrita by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati. And all of them are authentic. All of them are wonderful. It's just that they highlight different aspects of Gaur Leela. Like, for example, Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak by Kavi Karanapur is describing pastimes of Mahaprabhu as a drama. So that's wonderful for Vaishnavas to put on a dramatic play on the basis of the ready-made script from Kavi Karanapur's Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak. On the other hand, you can find Chaitanya Chandramrita by Prabodhananda Saraswati. It's a transcendently ecstatic outburst of prayers. So if you want to offer prayers to Gaur Nitai, that's a beautiful source. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj he popularized Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya Hema Divya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. That comes from Chaitanya Chandramrita of Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati. So that's a wonderful source too. But Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur and our Srila Prabhupada, they happen to prioritize Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat. And Prabhupada Chaitanya Charitamrita more. So much so that he writes, this is the most authoritative biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what we could do is we could study Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat first, many times. And then of course we can pick sections out of different books depending on the time and the inclination. I also heard His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj is coming up with a book on Mahaprabhu, which is having and disciples of Maharaj here, you can forgive me if I'm getting it wrong. It's just on the basis of the information that I heard from devotees. I don't know the details, but I heard that Maharaj is coming up with a book with the chronological synthesis of all these biographies in one book, which I think would be a groundbreaking presentation. That's what I've heard, but that would be my humble input. Thank you. So now, as the clock ticks more than 9, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanande. Thank you very much.
His Grace Amarendra Prabhu ki.